Welcome back to the Bold Podcast. I'm Todd Bertsch, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this inspiring journey of personal growth and leadership. Together with my guests, we'll dive into transformational stories, uncovering how small, intentional changes can create massive positive results in your life. From overcoming challenges and setting impactful goals to building lasting habits and living with confidence, health, and positivity, we'll explore it all. And if you're ready to embrace a growth mindset and unlock the best version of yourself, then let's spark that transformation today. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce Lei Wang, a leadership developer, executive advisor, and keynote speaker whose journey spans from boardrooms to the world's most extreme landscapes. Known as a corporate nerd turned explorer, Lei broke barriers as the first Asian woman to complete the Explorer's Grand Slam, conquering the highest peaks on every continent and skiing to both the North and South Poles. With a rich background in technology and finance, she turns corporate expertise into transformative lessons on resilience, ambition, and achieving bold outcomes. Listeners, get ready for an exciting episode. Lei, welcome to the Bold Podcast, my friend.
Thank you so much, Todd.
It's so good to see you from Seattle, Washington, right?
Yeah, in the rainy city.
Is it raining today?
Kind of.
Yeah. We're coming from Akron, Ohio over here, and it is rainy as well and chilly, but not too bad. It's been a little warmer, like 40 degrees, which for us in February is like spring.
Yeah, I do feel like that way.
Right? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this conversation. You and I met, I think, a few months ago, and your story is truly one of the most amazing stories that I've heard in a really long time. So I'm excited to share this with our listeners. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So tell us about this journey. What is a EGS, this Explorer Grand Slam? I know I had to look that up. What is that all about, and why did you do that?
Thank you. I have to do the reverse research because when I saw you say EGS, I was thinking, what is the EGS? Explorer's Grand Slam. So Explorer's Grand Slam is a challenge that to climb the highest peak on every continent and ski to both the North and the South Poles. So I started this journey in 2004. At that time, it was not a well-known thing because if you remember back in 2004, Facebook was still just at the baby stage and everything you rely on your limited research and social media, because social media is not such a big deal yet. I actually never heard of 7 Summits or Explorer's Grand Slam until I started to research. So it all started with a bold, audacious dream. One day after just thinking, hey, what if this book nerd, this unathletic city girl, go climb Mount Everest? I wasn't trying to do it for the fame or for something. I actually was thinking, I need to do something about my health. And if I can say I'm going to shoot for the moon, that's going to motivate me to land on a star by going to the gym. That was my real motivation, was to try to get myself into a better shape to improve my health. So I said, all right, let's just set the audacious goal. Let's go to Everest so I can motivate myself to exercise. Then when I was researching how to train for Everest, how to prepare to become ready for Everest, I accidentally discovered the 7 Summits, then later discovered Explorer's Grand Slam. So that's how everything started.
Wow. That is absolutely crazy. That is one big, bold goal. Most people would never do anything like that. So was there something, did you get like a report back from your doctor? Was there a visit? Like you said, your health wasn't at its best. Was there like a scare where you're like, oh gosh, I really need to do something dramatic to change this? Or you just said, it was just you saying, I need to get off the couch. I need to just get healthier.
Yeah, fortunately, it was not any warning from the doctors.
Okay.
That time, I was in my early 30s, and I was working in a finance job in Boston. My lifestyle was working from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., getting home exhausted, then sleep a few hours, go back to office. Then I start to wonder, if I keep on going like this, what would be like when I'm in my 40s, in my 50s? I kind of one day had the scary thought, would I be in a wheelchair if I don't do anything to change it? So luckily, I decided to make a change before any warning comes. So I think that's the value of what you call risk management, right? You don't want to manage the crisis when that comes. You rather than preparing for the potential risk to prevent the crisis from happening. So that's one of my so-called strategic move on my health, I guess.
Yeah, and the reason why I ask that is because most people live in kind of a fixed mindset. Most people would not ever think about doing something as bold as what you did. And typically, and unfortunately, it does usually take a traumatic event for someone to really reflect and say, I need to make some change. So that's why I ask, because I find it very interesting that you just all of a sudden said, I need to make some change. Like, that's amazing that you did that, but most people don't have that built in. So I want to dig into that a little bit more. I think, if anything, and correct me if I'm wrong, it probably comes down to curiosity. You were just open and curious, right?
Yeah, I'm always curious. I love learning. I love, if I hear anything that I don't know, what's that? I'm going to go look it up, going to research to understand. Then that's something maybe I want to read about, maybe something I want to learn. So that's kind of part of my personality. I'm always curious about finding out something I don't know. And also, I love to turn around the question. Like, people probably think, oh, that's crazy. How do you even just imagine go climb Everest? My question is, why not? So I want to set a big goal so I can go to the gym. And then why not set a big one? So I'll get the motivation, get excitement to go train. And it doesn't matter if you're going to reach the goal or not. I know by taking the action, my life will be different.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, most people. So you were in kind of a comfort zone, right? You were comfortable, complacent, kind of in your routine, right? And you were approaching burnout, I would say, working 10, 12-hour days consistently. Most people, that is not sustainable, right? Even in your 30s.
Yeah, I wasn't in the burnout stage, but I'm very good at thinking ahead. Okay, if keep going like this, what's the result? So that's a lot of time. Same thing applied when today, I work as a speaker and a coach. When I work with leaders, it's not about you run into crisis. Oh, now the team is not working properly. We have trouble hiring people. We have trouble retaining the talents. You don't wait until that thing happens. You need to keep on asking questions is, if I keep doing things like this, what might happen? Then I can preemptively prevent things from happening by making changes right now. So I didn't want to wait until, I'm burned out, I'm totally depressed, I cannot even get myself out of bed to change. No, I see if I keep going like this, something going to happen unless I make a change.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. And I just want to say congratulations. I mean, that is a huge feat for anybody. And you're the first Asian woman to do it. That is incredible. Good
Thank
for
you.
you. Like, I have so much respect for you to do that. Yeah, I don't even know what I'll say. I mean, it's incredible. It's an incredible feat. Let's just be honest. It is absolutely, we're talking 7 summits, not 1, not 2, 7, and the highest peak on each continent. I mean, and then you said, no, wait a minute, that's not enough. I'm going to ski from the North to the South Pole. Like, that is absolutely insane in most people's mind. So just incredible. And the fact that you said, look, I need to make a change. I'm going to make a choice. I might achieve the goal. I may not, but I'm going to work my tail off to try to get there. And let's talk about that. It took you about 6 years of training. Am I correct? 6? That is a long time to train for anything, for any goal. So how did you stay motivated and committed to that for 6 long years?
Well, so when you are going after any big goals, any seemingly impossible dreams, it's not going after a single destination, a single target. It's about having a roadmap. So if you can break down the big goals into smaller ones and each one make it more attainable, then you can motivate yourself because you can monitor your progress. You can measure so for example, for the Explorers Grand Slam, by breaking it down into 7 summits and the North Pole and the South Pole, then you can line up, okay, what's the order of difficulties? What's the difference in skill levels required? Then I can aim for the smallest one first. Then you can break it down. In order to climb the smallest one, what do I need to do locally? What kind of hiking? What kind of training I need to take? Then that breaks down to what would be every week, what's my schedule? What's my daily routine? Then you just, each step, okay, do I go to the gym? As I said, every day or say 5 days a week? Do I do what I say? I need to go hiking every weekend. I need to do enough climbing training. How many times per month? If you just keep on hitting those small steps, milestones, then you know they're going to lead to your first small peak. Then you know after that, I can also map out what's my road from the first peak to the second peak. Then later on, you can just keep on mapping out. So having a roadmap, plan it out strategically, and have measurable milestones so you can check in, keep progress instead of just, how far I am from the big goal. No, just hit everyday milestones. You know you're going to reach your ultimate goal.
Yeah, no, that's great. And did you create this roadmap by yourself, or did you have somebody that was trained in this type of adventure help you?
Well, very funnily, I created a very primitive roadmap within one night. So first, all right, I want to climb Everest. What do I need to do? So I researched, I found these 7 summits, right? Then I took out the Excel spreadsheet because I was trained as a computer scientist. So I took out the Excel spreadsheet, list out them. All right, let me just naively put 1 year after each peak. And I researched which one is easiest. All right, let me just line them up 1 year at a time. Then I go back and list, okay, what's the skill they need? Then where I'm going to learn, which skill take a longer time to learn, and which skill is the hardest to gain. Then I just line up, all right, what I need to train first, what I need to practice first. Then where I'm going to find a resource, what kind of training I need to take. So I just made a small plan myself first on the Excel spreadsheet. And then once I started training, I met more people who know more about how to plan this kind of ambitious goals. And they gave me advice, then I adjust my plans.
Yeah, that sounds like it was very strategic. Not at the beginning, but really it was kind of strategic. I love how you planned it out. Like that was very, very smart. The way that you approach it.
That's part of my engineering training, right? So I'm very analytical minded. So everything I do, thorough research, thorough planning. But I also understand you need to be flexible. Don't stick to the plan. You need to be flexible, allow changes, and allow things unexpected to happen, and be open when something unexpected happen. So it's planning, but also be flexible.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Was there ever a time during this 6-year span where you actually hit a roadblock, or you had one of these changes occur and you've kind of fell off the wagon per se for a minute? How did you motivate yourself to get back? Or did you have any instance where you were like in doubt or you had something happen?
Well, definitely things didn't go as I planned, one peak per year.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the peak, Aconcagua, the highest peak in South America, I put it down 1 year, and the first year it didn't happen because I wasn't properly trained.
Mm.
I was too inexperienced when I got to that mountain. My fitness level, my mountaineering experience, nothing was ready for that mountain. So first year when I made an attempt, I failed thoroughly. Then second year I went back. I was trained. I was more prepared. I trained much better. I became much stronger. I was totally capable to make to the summit. However, the weather wasn't cooperating that year. We stayed 3 weeks, couldn't make it. So that one mountain took me 3 years. That obviously threw me off track. I didn't accomplish my one peak per year goal at that point.
Oh my gosh. Talk about building resilience. There's no better way, right, to do that.
And the good thing is whenever you fail, you learn something. That's why failure is never really a failure. As long as you learn the lessons, you just gain some more data points. So the first time I realized, I totally underestimated what it takes to climb a mountain. So I know how to train. I learned how to train, like, for example, carry heavy loads on high altitude. I didn't know that at the beginner. So when I came back from the first failed attempt, my friend gave me a gift, a 50-pound sandbag. So that was a huge gift. I just put it in a backpack, leave it in my car. Whenever I go out walking, hiking, there's opportunity I have to carry this sandbag around. So that's how I trained to be ready for the second attempt.
Wow. That's amazing. How long did it take to complete the Grand Slam?
It took 6 years.
That was 6 years.
Right, one peak took 3 years. Then I figured out it's not because I want to stick to the plan of 6 years. It's also the hardest part of this journey. It's actually not the physical part, even though it's a huge transformation for someone who had no athletic foundations to be capable to climb those summits. That's a huge physical transformation. But the hardest part was decision about career, about life. Because if you imagine, I just graduated from Wharton MBA at that point, started a new career in finance, and now I had this wild dream to climb Everest. That means I have to sacrifice a lot in my professional development, in my career growth. That's a huge sacrifice. And I realized I cannot keep on delaying everything because the longer it took me to finish this dream, then the further away I'm away from where I want to get to professionally. So that motivated me to figure out how I can speed up in the end so I can get back to so-called track, even though the track I came back to is totally different from the track I started on.
Sure. Absolutely. Do you have any regrets? Would you do it again?
I often ask this question myself. I look back to my life. I think every point, based on the information I have, based on my capability, resource at that point, I think every decision I made was to my best effort. So I have no regret. I think I made the best out of every opportunity, and also understanding in life, you get what you get. You cannot get what you wish all the time. So I feel very grateful for what I already have.
Yeah, gratitude. We talk a lot about gratitude on this show. Absolutely. Would you recommend others going through this experience?
I wouldn't recommend people go climb mountains just because it sounds cool or because you saw other people doing it. I don't recommend people doing anything just because you saw people doing that on Instagram or you read in the news. You have to pursue things that truly resonate with your own heart, that really speak to who you want to become. So it should be authentic to your desire, to your passion. Then, in that sense, I highly recommend everyone take on some big challenges, even it's scary ones, even that seems totally impossible. But if that resonates with you, you will learn a lot. You may not have a straight path to the destination, but you're going to learn a lot of lessons that help you to grow much faster and make you more successful in ways you cannot even imagine.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. And we talk a lot about getting out of your comfort zone. And that's really what that's all about. It's so easy. Life goes by very quickly. We get into our job, we're working, we start a family. Next thing you know, 10, 20 years go by and we have regrets, and we haven't grown. So yeah, I think this is an absolute lesson in resilience, getting out of your comfort zone, going after your goals, being open-minded, being curious, and achieving bold outcomes. How did this experience in completing this Grand Slam inform you to approach risk-taking and building resistance in terms of now you're coaching leaders, your executive coach, your practice? How are you incorporating this into your coaching?
Yeah, definitely. So this is like going a full circle, right? So I took a lot of my early life lessons into pursuing the climbing dream. And now I took the lesson I learned from my climbing experience back into the professional world I used to work in. And my passion is to help more leaders to become a better leader, to build a better team. So together they achieve real results that beyond what they can even imagine. And that first starts from a strategic road mapping. You need to have a strategic plan for everything, for your business, for your project, for your career, for each your team members. They also need to have their own strategic roadmap. And the strategic roadmap I'm talking about is not just about how to go, okay, point A, then what's the next level, my title or my salary or the job or the company size. It's more about who do you want to become. Understand what's most important for you, who you want to become, what's your vision, what's your mission, then what kind of skill you want to gain, what kind of resource you need to gather. So it's not a simple, just say, go from this peak to that peak. It's never a straight line. Sometimes you may need to detour, but that is also part of the experience gaining. So strategic road mapping can help you to grow as a person. And that will be the guidance when you pursue any big goals. And then, of course, the mindset, the resilience, the being flexible to adapt to the situations and understanding uncertainty, change. All those things are normal in this world. We all need to handle that. That's not something bad luck or unexpected. Frankly said, we should all expect all kinds of obstacles, all kinds of changes, all kinds of uncertainties. So we need to strengthen our mindset, our resilience, so we can continue to motivate ourselves, motivate our teams, continue to grow our business, no matter how far your goal, your destination may look like.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Do you, in your strategic planning sessions with your executives that you're coaching, do you talk about embracing the journey? Because you talk about you're going to have to be flexible, you're going to have to adapt. It's easy to get caught up in the goal, right? The top of the summit, but you have to embrace the journey, the process of getting there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so embrace the journey. The mindset is a foundation. The mindset of resilience, of adapting, of expecting the unexpected. All those things are the foundations. And also the most important cornerstone of this roadmap is knowing your values, that you craft authentic visions, missions, not just for the eyeball catching, for any glorious outcome. What truly resonates with your heart in terms of value, vision, mission. That's most important, because there will be time things will get really, really hard. And it's your deep value, your deep vision that drives you to help you persevere in those kinds of time.
Yeah, totally agree about living your purpose, right? Living your purpose and staying true to your North Star.
Yeah, that is the guiding post for each individual and also for the team. Because I see a lot of team not motivated, not engaged. It's because if everyone has a different vision, different goal, different thing they're pursuing, then you don't have a team. You just have a group of people. When you can align the team together along the same foundation of value, vision, mission, then you have a team that's going to bond together. They're going to suffer, they're going to endure, they're going to do the hard things together to reach the goals that they share.
Right. Speaking of teams, I'm curious, when you went on this adventure, I know it's just you, but did you have a team? Were you doing this with other individuals? I know when I've watched videos or documentaries on people climbing these summits, there were several people kind of doing it together, assisting, and you start to build this little very tight-knit community, almost a family, because, I mean, this is a long journey, right? Is that true? Is that something that you created, kind of your own little team and community and family through this experience?
Yeah, for every expedition, there's a team. Because in this game, you don't go too far by yourself because it's such a high risk. You need to leverage everyone's different skill, different mindset. I mean, different mindset doesn't mean different resilient. They're all resilient. But mindset means like everyone has different interpretations of risk levels, of their comfort levels. And all those things we need to consider together. It's no way everyone going to be uniform in terms of those metrics. So you need to have a team and you can accommodate different kinds of personality, mindset, preference of different things, different skill, different strengths, and can leverage that and compensate each other for what you lack and pitch in wherever you can. So it's not about relying on each other, it's about leveraging everyone's strengths. So that's a true team. And also in this kind of expedition, it's literally our life is held in the other person's hand. Because when you are on the same rope, one person fall. If you cannot rescue the fall, the whole team will be down. And if you fall, you have the chance to pull off the whole team. So everyone has a huge responsibility for their own safety and for everyone else's safety. And doesn't matter your role, is a leader, is a follower, is the newer person, less experienced person. It doesn't matter. When something happens, everyone equally need to pitch in, need to do their best, do whatever they can to save the team and reach the goal.
Right. Everybody's on that rope. Doesn't matter, right? The rope doesn't know.
Right.
Right. The peak doesn't know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, it's awesome. So I would imagine that experience has had a huge impact on how you coach your executives and how you coach teams in these corporations. You've worked with some really big companies like Intel and Google. How did this impact your approach to coaching?
Yeah, definitely. So team coaching is a big part of my service because I believe in helping leaders build a better team that would improve everyone's life, make everyone's life more fulfilling, more exciting, having a more success in their career and in their business. And a big part of the team coaching is about the trust and alignment. Like what we just said before, everyone needs to pitch in, but also everyone's life is tied to the other person's life. So you have to have those kind of trust. You have other people's back. Other people have your back. You work on the assumption that everyone else is doing their best. When we communicate with that kind of assumption, the communication becomes much smoother. Instead of if you assume everyone is fighting for their own selfish interest, then you're probably going to communicate in a different way. So building a cohesive team is based on the trust. That's how communication is improved. And then that's how performance is improved. So that's something I spend a lot of time working with leaders on.
And is that through your Mighty Mouse framework?
Yeah, the mighty leadership. So the stand for the mindset. And that's the foundation of many of the works.
So you're working with a lot of these big executive leaders, right? Like we said, Intel, Google, and some other big corporations. Are there some common obstacles that these executives are coming to you with, and how do you help them overcome these obstacles?
Well, the common obstacle is actually all about mindset. Because a lot of time we probably think only people who are just starting may struggle with confidence, struggle with doubts, struggle with resilience. The truth is that every level we struggle with it at a different. So that's good news for everyone. No matter what's your level, you're going to struggle with a similar kind of mindset, because imagine for any senior leader, they are always pursuing something slightly outside their comfort zone, stepping into something bigger, more scary than they ever have taken on. So they're taking a bigger team, taking on a new project, taking on a new territory. They all have to keep on working on their mindset. So mindset is a common thing I work with almost all leaders. And also the vision, the roadmap part, because I found a lot of time for people who are in the industry for so long, they often see things from A to B quite linearly. As a coach come from outside of their company, and especially someone who have been outside the professional world into the wilderness, then coming back, I see things from many different dimensions, different directions to provide the outside the box guidance. So sometimes it may look obvious to one person, but to the other person, they totally couldn't see it. So that's why when we want to take on different perspectives to get the outside box views. So that's a lot of value that as a coach I'm providing. It helps them to see things in different ways. For example, when they see how their team are reacting to certain initiatives, the company, the department want to go in this direction. Why the team is not following? Why the team is not motivated? Because team has a different perspective. So that I help them to bridge the gap, to bring them together, to communicate, to collaborate, to see from team's perspective, what do they see as positive, as negative, as motivating, as exciting, or as something holding them back. It's very different from the boss perspective. So I help them to bring together, bridging the gap. So in general, it's always the mindset, the communications, and the different perspective to have the outside the box thinking.
I love that. I'm all about mindset over here, so I'm happy to hear that. Like, you provide a lot of different services, leadership development, keynote speaker, executive advisor. Are there any one of these that you're more excited about? What gets you up in the morning?
I think they go all hand in hand because all serve the same segment of the market, right? So for me, the ultimate goal is to inspire people, empower people, and enable people to achieve their biggest, wildest dreams. So speaking helps them to get some good ideas, get some aha moments, and get a few action steps they can take. And the coaching helps them to implement those plans, implement those action steps to help them to stay accountable, to stay on track, to really reach those big goals. So I see all of them are very exciting, and they go hand in hand to achieve the same goal.
Yeah, I would agree as well. If I were asked that question, it's like an ecosystem, right? They all feed each other, similar messages, similar tactics. You're just either working one-to-one within a small group, or you're amplifying your message in a keynote speech to hundreds, perhaps thousands, right? Yeah. No, that's awesome. Are there core topics that you have that you present on?
Well, most of my topics focus on, one is about how do we turn ambitious goals into real results to achieve the seemingly impossible. So that's about goal setting, about strategic road mapping to craft a plan to reach the seemingly impossible goal. And the other part is about in the daily execution, how do we build a high-performing team? How do we build influence, communications to reach our goals together as a team? So that's basically the breakdowns of my topics.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, if people don't get inspired by hearing your story, I don't know what's going to get them inspired, because it's truly, truly incredible. And I'm so glad that you're able to share your story with my listeners and just everybody in the world, really. So what's next for Lei? What's the next big audacious goal that you have? What do you have coming up? Anything cool?
Yeah, my audacious goal would be to reach millions of people through my speaking and coaching, and want to see more leaders achieve the seemingly impossible goals with my help.
Awesome. Well, I think you're on your way. I would say, yeah, you're a prime target to do an amazing TED Talk. So I can't wait to see it. Is that on tap for this year, perhaps, or maybe next year?
Right now, it's a trade secret.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, that's awesome. So if you could leave our audience, Lei, with one thing, what would be the biggest takeaway from this episode?
I think the biggest limits for everyone that come from ourselves. So whenever we face some big dreams or desires, instead of saying no to ourselves, flip it to say, what does it take to get it? So dream big. Anything is possible. Turn around this question. Ask, how can I get it?
I love it. Be curious. Be open. Get out of your comfort zone, right? Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lei, this has been great. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. You're a true inspiration in every sense of the word. I'm going to include all your links in the show notes. Listeners, check out her YouTube video, which we'll include in the show notes as well. It showcases her journey on these expeditions. It's very cool, and looking forward to everything else that you have going on, Lei. So again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Todd. It's a pleasure to be on the platform. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Bolt Podcast. You're on an inspiring journey of growth, transformation, and joy, and I'm honored to be a part of it. If you found this episode valuable, please like, share it with your friends, and consider leaving a review. It means the world to us. For show notes, resources, and to subscribe to the weekly Motivational Monday newsletter, please visit toddbertsch.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media at The Bolt with Todd B for more inspiration. Remember, real change doesn't happen overnight, folks. Start small, stay consistent, and watch as your growth unfolds. See you next time.